Okay, sorry.
Perfect, we are live now. All this meeting to order, please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, fellow school board members, district staff, and community members. As a reminder for us all, the mission of St. Francis Area Schools is to equip all students with the knowledge and skills to empower them to achieve their dreams and full potential while becoming responsible citizens in a dynamic world. Our first item for tonight is adoption of the agenda. Are there any questions prior to a motion being made on the agenda? Hearing none, is there a call to motion for the February 10th, 2025 meeting agenda? So moved. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Working. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion to accept the agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, motion passes. Next item, consideration of visitors. We have one individual tonight, Mr. Ryan Keurig. You'll have 5 minutes. Again, once the 5 minute comes up, if you're still speaking, please wrap up your comments.
My name is Ryan Keurig, proud president of Education, Minnesota St. Francis. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today on 606.5, the book review committee. I know we've kind of cleared the honeymoon phase through a few meetings, and now it's time to start talking about some of the activities or actions that we will or won't work on. And I know that this is a hot button topic, but I'm really asking that you review the policy and restore the power of decision-making for our school district here with the school board. The opportunity, I know it's not going to be popular with some folks, but the idea that book looks is one of the sole hurdles in order to be, or quite frankly, the only hurdle to get to stage 2 in any sort of review process is concerning to me. Most importantly so, that we don't even have a say in what happens at that website or how those decisions are made. We could arbitrarily wake up tomorrow and all of the modifications to the system could be changed. We don't have a representative on their committee or decision-making board or even an interest in the outcomes of anything that's decided there beyond it's now embedded in policy. I understand that you have concerns over lewd or inappropriate information in books and those concerns. I think the community has made it loud and clear that's a concern. And I think we should respond to that by seeing the original process through, which would have landed it at the school board where they would have made the decision, and I trust the individuals in here to make that decision moving our district forward. Where if there's a problem with it, you'll hear it from the community and have to modify and adjust. Right now, there's no conversation for many of these books that are being suggested, and they're just slammed down and moved out. I know it's not a perfect system, either of them, but I don't think we honestly gave a fair shake to the old system. I get it, some folks might not agree with what the book review committee came forward with, but that was part of the process. Nobody here even got the download of what that book review committee reviewed. And it might have, they said to keep it, and I would hope that the board would then get to review it and go, you know what, guys, that didn't hold muster. We're gonna get rid of that one. We're sorry, let's do better as a committee, consider these new things. We haven't even tried the process through once. And it was turned over to a website to make all the decisions for us. As a parent in this community, I am greatly concerned that that's how we handed over that power. I think we're better than that. Even when we go through negotiations, one of the loudest things I hear is local control. It's that whenever I work with something that's Education Minnesota coming in, that's what I hear from the school board. We want local control. And I try to minutia and change it so it meets our needs here. But then on this case, we didn't follow that through. So I just want us to really consider the idea that just because you remove book looks as the sole determining factor in the first step, doesn't mean you're destroying the entire system. It would just restore power to the school board to make the decision. And whether or not it's a conservative or liberal agenda, it will be decided here with you. And that will be the makeup of our community, which you quite frankly represent. In my time working here and seeing it, I think we would have a quality discussion on what's there. Hopefully it would come after the book review committee, so you would have those discussions, because I don't think, my understanding from that committee is it wasn't a slam dunk. I don't know how it's being presented, but they had hard conversations on it. but you never got to review their notes, their consideration, their ideas, what each of the ratings for each of the systems are, so we can develop a better system to move forward. I know there's frustration with how long things take, but I think we can build something better. So I hope, don't say that here, we can build a better process in order to move things forward on behalf of our kids. So I do think we have the skill and the will and the ability here, whether or not we like it or not. I don't want to see us handed over there. I really hope you'll reconsider it at some point, and we're taking a look at every opportunity in order to hopefully make you do that. And if you have questions, please call. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fear. All right, our next agenda item is the consent agenda. We currently have 5 items on the meeting's consent agenda. Are there any questions or requests to remove an item from the consent agenda prior to a motion being made? Hearing none, is there a call to motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. A second? Ms. West, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing none, motion passes. All right, moving on to information items and reports. Again, we have the privilege of having Jack Humphrey with us tonight to give us an update on the St. Francis High School Student Council. Jack, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berg. Good evening, school board, council, superintendent, chair, and the rest of you. Hey, Dad. My name is Jack Humphrey. I'm here with the student council to represent us at tonight's school board meeting. It's a pleasure for us to once again be invited here. Over the past couple of weeks, the main thing that's been on our focus, of course, was the Snow Days Pet Fest, which we had last, or the Friday before that, whatever day that was. And so we had our Pet Fest, and I have the sheets right here to list off the names of our Snow Days court. But otherwise, since then, we've started carnation sales during lunchtimes, which we hope to pass out this Thursday, the 13th, as the state dance tournament has pushed back some of the people who we would have been giving these flowers to. So other than that, we haven't had much going on other than the Pet Fest and these sellings of carnations. Now to get on to the important stuff that everyone wants to know. Our court this year consists of freshmen Gavin Lance and Avery Lamson, sophomores S.I. Joan and Layla Olson, juniors Logan Herzog and Mackenzie Como, and then seniors Sam Root and Sophie Edwards, Jacob Walter and McKenna Sanders, Jacob Tilley and Madison Bates, Nathaniel Esvold and Ella Donner, Michael Dwyer and Alexis Skoquist, and I believe that is it. And our Snow Days King and Queen this year were McKenna Sanders and Jacob Tilley, and so we are glad to have them and to have had our Snow Days dance this past Friday, hosted by girls basketball and Mr. Schomrock. I believe that it was all a great success, and we look forward to our next Snow Days Pep Fest. Otherwise, moving on, we of course have the carnation handout this Thursday, and otherwise we haven't had a meeting, so there's not that much else for me to report to you guys. Any questions? Thank you all very much.
Questions? Thank you, Jack.
Have a good rest of your day.
Our next item is administrative report. Superintendent Anderson has a few items to go through tonight as well. Mr. Anderson.
First, I'll highlight a couple of our student athletes for groups. Evan, is it Halbergs, is competing in the Alpine State Tournament ski race tomorrow at Giants Ridge, so good luck to Evan. Friday and Saturday, our dance team is performing at the Target Center in the state tournament. The jazz line is this Friday at 7, or starting at 1:50 to 4 p.m. Finals are at 7, and then the same happens on Saturday, except it's the kick line. Same times, just on Saturday. The rest of the packet for my report, I'll just mention the topics, and then you can let me know if you have any questions. I'm working on the response and letter of non-concurrence. We're hoping to make a donation to Centennial Schools, a piece of equipment from Saints Manufacturing Program. MnDOT and the DNR visited Saints Manufacturing. They want to continue the relationships with our program, and so they've had groups of people walk through. And then our kindergarten enrollment is up compared to this time last year.
Forewarning though, we did a better job with communications of those events this year, so that does not necessarily mean we'll be higher enrollment when school starts in September. You can see the discipline data through January. One thing I do want to note is that sometimes these numbers will change even after the month is over, just because it depends on when the discipline data is entered. So don't be surprised if next month, there's different data showing for January, for example. And then you can see that we've had a third book that was removed due to our policy 606.5. Received a notice today that a fourth book was also removed, but it was after the packet was issued. So I'll include that in the next meeting administrative report. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions for the superintendent? Mr. Humphries?
So it was brought to my attention that the non-concurrence has to be written by the school board. And I'll just read what they sent me, 124D.78. In the case of non-concurrence, the school board is given 60 days in which to respond in writing to the committee's recommendations. I think that it's wise, because I mean, for you or someone in the know to write it, and then I guess we approve it. Is that why we're going that route, or?
Yeah, what we've done since I've been here is we take the letter of non-concurrence or the notice of non-concurrence, and then I write a rough draft. We presented at one meeting, so I can explain why that's in the draft. And then the board members can provide feedback, suggestions, say yes or no. And then I come back at the next meeting with a revised copy, and the board can approve it then. So we'll make the 60-day timeline with that in mind. The process, I think, works really well.
I like that. Thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Shorter?
So this is kind of off topic from what you're on there, but the Minnesota State High School, they came out last few days that they're going to allow transgender to participate. President Trump did the executive order basically saying that they couldn't, or he would withhold funds. Have we talked about that at district level, or where are we at?
By the way, Rob did ask me these questions in advance, but I thought it would be good if Rob could ask me this question and another question, so thank you. Some interesting news, because I read the same press release you did, and I came to the same conclusion. But I just received something today saying that the State High School League has 60 days to make those decisions final. And so there's a request going to the State Attorney General for clarification, because the federal executive order seems to conflict with Minnesota's Human Rights Act. And so hopefully the Attorney General will give his opinion on that particular issue. So I don't have anything to share right now, but certainly that'll be front and center as soon as the State High School League acts.
Mr. Shorter, and then the other question, the chances of it happening here are low, but has there been discussion if something were to happen with ICE coming in with illegal alien or whatever?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the chances are very low here compared to a lot of districts, but there has been discussion. I have a rough draft of procedures that school employees should follow if any federal agent comes onto school grounds about this issue or any other issue. And really it's focused on two things. First, and really none of this is different compared to current policy or practice. It's just more of a reminder. First of all, we don't want people just walking around our buildings during the school day. That's just terrible practice, and I don't think any of us would endorse that. And so one thing we're going to remind people to do is, if there is someone who wants to walk through the buildings, regardless of their purpose, they need to be referred back to the building office and the principal consultant. In that case, the principal will communicate with me or a cabinet member to talk about the warrant that immigration official might have with them, and then we'll confer with legal counsel to see if it's a judicial warrant or an administrative warrant, because that makes a big difference. With a judicial warrant, we will follow it word for word. The administrative warrant is very different. And so, we're going to work with our federal officials, but at the same time, we want to protect the rights of our kids, including privacy rights. So that's one part of it. Another part of it has to do with just the privacy rights in general for students and employees. Really, we can only share certain information with others. And even that information should be channeled through the superintendent's office through a data request of directory information. And so if there's someone who is asking an employee, let's say, tell me about this student, where does he or she born, or where does he or she live? Really, that's not our business to share. If it's an ICE agent or anybody else, if there's a request for that kind of information, then our building office will work with them to get the request to me right away, and then we'll process it as soon as possible. Yeah, I don't envision that occurring here, and I think we'll handle it well so that, because we want to work with our federal officials and we want to protect the rights of our kids.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the superintendent? All right, seeing none. Moving on to our one and only action item for tonight. 6.1, approval of the teacher seniority list. This is the same list that we saw before. There have been a few corrections that were sent through to HR and made. This is essential information in the event we have to make any decisions in the future related to unrequested leave. Mr. Nelson, if there's any questions, we'll refer them to you at this point. We will need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 teacher seniority list. Ms. Anderson? Motion to approve. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Shonra. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion for approval of the 2024-2025 teacher seniority list, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7, upcoming meetings and preliminary topics. Are there any questions for any upcoming meetings or topics at this time? As you can see, the next meeting's got a little more agenda items when it comes to information and updates, and we'll have some more details on those as we get closer. Okay, next item, school board member reports. Member Anderson.
Well, I get to start
You
too.
can start.
We, last Friday, volunteered at the dance that Jake had mentioned. It was a lot of fun and a huge success, I think. It was the second year of having that dance, and Rob and his crew did a great job of organizing it and getting volunteers, and there was a lot of kids there, and they were having a great time. I would have recommended some of them wear jackets and maybe a little bit more clothes, but that would have ruined the outfits that they were wearing. So some of the girls were pretty smart. They put hoodies over their dress, and their hoodies were longer than the dress, so it kept them warm getting into the building with the snow coming down, but it was a lot of fun. And then earlier tonight, I attended the policy committee. We discussed 2 policies. One will be coming for a first read at our next meeting. The other one was 6065. And there was a good discussion, and it doesn't look like we'll be discussing it again until late March. That's all I have.
Mr. Humphrey?
So I was at ACT earlier, and that is a conflict with my policy meeting, so we'll end up figuring that out hopefully later. But there we kind of wrapped up what we've been covering so far with English second language, teacher evaluations, and AI in the schools. I was only able to spend about 40 minutes in that meeting though, so I don't know how it all was resolved or what we went forward with, but I have all that emailed to me. One thing that we're putting in a new teacher evaluation situation that has to be rolled out July 1st of 2025. And then all that with knowing on the horizon that Governor Walz has asked for QComp to be done away with. So there's a whole bunch of changes on those aspects coming forward. Policy committee with Jill, like I said, there's one because of a lawsuit, and then the second one because of the continuing conversation about the library situation. I want to remind everyone that the powwow is this Saturday at our St. Francis. A lot of the main things are the initial walk and then the drum ceremony. So if you're here midday, there are food trucks. There's a whole bunch of crafts, a whole bunch of activities. It's a great cultural thing. There's supposed to be a lot of people perhaps coming this Saturday in our very own gym in the high school for a pack. So I think eventually I'd like to discuss what our plans are with the Department of Education, possibly going away federally. And then as far as anything else goes, there is an econ organization headed by Mr. Kelly Lipinski, who really puts together a great course and activities for these kids. And it's another one of these activities that has real world usage. So I'd like to someday discuss that more, because I'm quite impressed with the conversation I've had with him over that. As a business owner and as a parent, these are really things that are life skills that can put these kids in a good position in their life. So that's about all I have. One more, actually, I'd like to toot my son's horn. DECA is officially a gold standard accredited situation because of the paper he wrote that I've mentioned just recently. They usually write one and then you get in a couple attempts at it, but he pinned it. He got every single thing at the highest level. And so according to his work, he's gained access to the national in Florida this year. And so I'm bringing this up because I'm obviously proud of him, but this DECA program is something else. Ms. Schrag is on top of it. And the fact that it's now this overwhelming and accredited and kind of nationally official situation because of putting their business plan together, which had guidance from Ms. Schrag, but my boy wrote that, so pretty proud of that. And it's good for DECA, and DECA is growing enormously. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Shorter.
Yeah, just to add on to the powwow for this Saturday, it's 1 to 5 and everybody is invited to the high school. You don't have to stay the whole time. You can just come peek for a half hour, an hour, and just check things out, but everybody is welcome. And then, yeah, we had the dance on Friday. We had a bunch of kids show up and have a good time. It's just nice for those kids to go out and have an activity or something to do on a Friday night. Then just wanted to congratulate the dance team for making it to state. And then winter sports are wrapping up, dances this weekend, and then it just continues after that from wrestling to hockey to basketball. So get out there and support those kids. That's it.
Mr. Working.
I spent the weekend in St. Cloud this weekend as a youth traveling basketball coach. I just want to say thank you to the Traveling Basketball Association for making that event work. It's an overnight deal. Most parents and kids stay in the hotels. Tournament was fun. I watched a lot of kids have probably too much fun, but they got to bond outside of school and really come together as a team, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you.
I've had no meetings, so community meetings.
Thank you. We had an early ed advisory meeting. Mr. Anderson already gave you the kindergarten enrollment numbers. We're excited to see them at that level and hope that they keep going from there. But great job from the district on that communication plan and how we've got that out and gotten better at that over the last 2 years. And then 2 comments. Huge shout out to our entire community for the support that they've provided to the cancer events that we've had with basketball and wrestling. Absolutely amazing support that we've seen the entire community come around and support one of our own as well as other teams and their struggle and their fight through this cancer thing. So that was great to see. And then the other thing is out to community ed. Had a individual was just walking down the street by my house, stopped and said, hey, I just attended a community ed program and it changed my life. And it was something, it's an individual that lost a spouse recently and was completely lost when it came to finances and what our program provided for that individual. Super excited. I think she enrolled in 3 other courses that night because it went so well. So a shout out to our community ed program and those that from our community that teach that as well. So that was great. That's all I've got for my report. With that, we're going to do a agenda adjournment. Right after we adjourn, we're going to go into a work session, which will be approximately 45 minutes. We'll be talking about our school board member handbook, and we are not going to be recording during that time frame. Yeah, we'll have about a 10-minute break to get everything set up and ready for that. So is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I guess, sorry.
Mr. Shorrock, you have a question before we do that?
Yes, is there a reason we don't record it?
We can.
I don't, I just.
Yeah, our current policy says that we don't
Okay.
record those, but we only record our regular meetings. But we can have a discussion on that while we talk the handbook piece. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Workman, is there a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. We will start at 7:10.